Uh, we are the OmniByte capstone team, and I'm Jay.
I'm Colin.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Dalton.
So, to start things out with, we are going to go over what OmniByte is and what they do, and then what we were tasked with doing for them, what our schedule looks like for it, what we've gotten done along with a demo displaying it, and then what the next steps are with us moving out of it. So, OmniByte develops mobile applications for people working in the field, so like plumbers and such, to help them sort of keep themselves organized. They also develop an app called Our Town, which is a way for small towns to help promote local businesses and increase their economy. And so, what we were tasked with, or what they needed, was increased functionality to help accomplish that goal. So, we were tasked with creating a geofence system to allow businesses to notify users of any deals or promotions as they walk by their business. And this would help some of the smaller businesses in these towns get people in the door and increase overall business within town. So now I'll hand it off to Colin.
All right, so I'm going to go over the schedule and progress so far. Whoops, wrong button. There we go. Okay. So initially, what we want to do, we were going to set up geofence functionality for our town, and then we were going to be creating a corresponding business web page for businesses to enter deals they wanted to connect to the geofences. Here's the use case diagram that we initially started out with. So here's our initial layout of the 4 sprints we're going to do. The first one we wanted to do a design/setup phase, so we weren't going to be working on anything yet. The second sprint we wanted to focus mainly on geofences, getting that up to date and running and everything. The third one we wanted to focus on the web application, so everything that was on the website. And then the last sprint we wanted to do like touch-ups, just cleaning everything up, making it look better. So we had a lot of unanticipated development delays. Environment issues kept appearing for us. We had many problems with the Ionic plugins not working since they're all GitHub based, so they're not professionally maintained. So we narrowed the scope before we started Sprint 3, and we decided just to focus on the geofence functionality itself. So what we wanted to do for Sprint 3 after we revised it, we wanted to do customized notifications, speed checking, to see if someone was driving so they wouldn't get a ton of notifications as they drove past places. We also wanted to make sure you can only get a notification once per day. We also wanted to make sure when you click the notification, you actually go to the business page on the Our Town app. And then we wanted to create a database table that housed all of our geofence information. And then we want to connect with the web service. And then Sprint 4, what we want to do is we want to be able to pull in the nearest geofences. And then we wanted functionality to modify the geofences, and then we also want to limit businesses to 1 geofence each, so no one gets too greedy. And then we also wanted to create informational material so everyone would know what we did so far. So here we have our user story point laid out. Sprint 1, just on the other side, we did design, planning, setup, and research. And then Sprint 2, we did user location, basic notifications, and we added geofences. And then Sprint 3 is when we went to almost a grinding halt because we had to reset everything we were doing and switch to doing native Android coding, which is why it was so low. So we basically had to relearn a lot of stuff. And then Sprint 4, which is what we just finished up, we did almost everything we wanted to do. So overall, we completed about 60% of what we originally set out to do. So progress so far. So what we have so far, we have background geolocation. We have a database table for geofences. We have a web service / web API that we can pull all the geofence information from. We have documentation set up. We have the validity checks or notifications to check to make sure they're all working correctly. We have customized notifications with certain icons for certain types of business type things like eating, electronics, books, stuff like that. And then we also have notifications appearing once per day. So the geofence strategy we employed, we basically had to make our own custom plugin for Android and for iOS. And so basically geofences are circles, and they're we only pull in active fences on the app, so only active ones can appear on your phone. And then we're doing date range checking, so making sure the deal is actually still on when you get the notification, so you don't get an expired deal or anything. And then background location checking, check where we are all the time. So now I'm going to hand it off to Dalton, who's going to do the demo.
Okay. So now I'll show you a quick video of the demo. Well, I won't. That's coming up next. So actually, we'll first go over what it looks like when you do get a notification. This is the format here, the logo up on the top left with the app name, which would be our town, as you can see on the left side. And then we bring in the business name through the web service, and then a short description of the deal as well. And then the deal icons are predetermined by the deal category we have set up through the table for what type of business it is. And then as you can see, the next these are all the notification icons we have differently. So say, if it was bar, we get the bar icon, or say it was for a furniture company like Slumberland, we get that one as well. So that was that. So now I'll show you the video. So cool.
Whoa. Wow.
So as you can see, that's just a quick video and recap of what we have working. So that's pretty cool. And then some top highlights we've had for the project so far was we've had multiple code Saturdays, as we call it, where we got together at the library for multiple hours and did that and coded together. It usually turned out to be environment Saturdays with the various environment issues we've had and had to fix. Another top highlight was exposure to the various new technologies. We have had good team communication and dynamics. There's also been very many learning opportunities, which is always good. And then that also leads to good career experience for heading into the future. And then some of the lowlights, like I talked about previously, was the environments between the 3 Windows computers and the MacBook that we have on the team. We also, our estimation skills are still need to be developed. They weren't as good as we hoped to be. There was issues with the initial framework, hence that's why we had to switch to the native plugins. And then, of course, balancing schedules and different holiday breaks. And then now I'll go over some issues and risks that we had towards the end of the project and then we've resolved. So the first risk, of course, was the environments. And then we resolved that by helping each other out. It was good to have, not all the time everyone had the same errors, but if you don't bounce the issue off one to another, then hopefully we could figure it out. The next one was unable to get the geofencing to work initially with the Ionic framework. So then we resolved that by switching to native. And then our last one that we closed was unable to adhere to the timeline of the project. And then what we had to do was create good documentation for the handoff with OmniByte. So now I will turn over to Emma with the next steps.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the next steps of the project plan and its future. I don't know how to work the clicker. Okay, anyways, so the remaining tasks are right here. So as you guys saw, well, hopefully you remember, maybe you don't blame me if you don't, but we have to also create a plugin for iOS, and we have the basic functionality of that working, we just have to test it on the phone. We also want to check the speed checking functionality and get a better implementation about that. We also need to make sure that we're saving cross geofences on local storage, because right now if you close out the app, the notification delay won't work as well. We also, these bottom ones right here, these final, I guess not all the bottom ones, but these two right here, the second to last ones, those are more functionality that would have been nice for leading into the web app development, which the businesses will need and they'll use to set up geofence notifications, and then final testing with all of this stuff. So for the project future, broke it down into 3 simple steps. So basically finish and polish up the geofence functionality, build the web app, and then integrate this into the OurTown app for businesses to use. So to do some of that too, we set up a few things. We've been talking a lot about documentation, which has been really important with our schedule issues. So one of the things we did is we created some informational materials for people who may not know much about geofence technology. So the one on the left is more geared towards businesses that would be interested in why should I be interested in this geofence technology notification system. And then the one on the right is more focused on just geofence technology as a whole and its benefits and possibilities that it offers. So then in the app, when this would be integrated in the app in way future, we were also in our initial design brainstorming with OmniByte. We're talking about having potentially a deals page on the OurTown app. This is currently the OurTown app, if you didn't know. But basically it has all the other categories except for deals right now. But this would be a place where if they're in a community, they can click on this and also see all the available deals, versus just walking around and trying to find them that way like a treasure hunt. So a little easier there. With the web app, this is a basic wireframe of that. So this would just be a simple web app that businesses could use to request a geofence notification that would be approved by a community admin for the community in which the business is. It would have a little bit of some stuff on the side too that would just give them more information. So about geofencing, like we said, kind of how the approval process works, so they know that and they know who to contact if something goes wrong or if they have more questions. And also just some information on how to actually submit these requests. And then what you see right here is what currently the admin portal for the community administrators look like. So what we would add on is the request little menu thing, secondary menu thing, where businesses could then click and be taken to this page that would have 2 different pages that they could toggle between. So the first would be the request inbox, which would pull all the requests from businesses that they submit through the web app into this portal, and they could approve or deny one at a time or multiple. And then the second would be kind of a backlog for the requests, just so for reference issues. So a little summary of our project post-mortem. There we go. Okay, so some stuff we got exposure to. We've been talking a lot too about all these technologies that we've gotten to use. A lot of us have never done mobile development before, much less mobile development for Android and iOS. We also had some fun times with version control software. That was good. And some languages that we've used in school a little bit, but we got to delve into them a little bit more, such as Java, TypeScript, and Swift. That one we haven't used that much, but we use that for iOS. We got some experience with agile development with our sprints and the planning that went into that, the industry, and different software that we used. Some skills that we developed that are essential for career success would be communication, teamwork, researching heavily, and problem solving, coding, and database manipulation. Regarding the geofencing, a lot of us, I mean, I personally didn't know what geofencing was until I took on this project too, so it was awesome to kind of look into that more and see what businesses are kind of taking hold of that possibilities that they have there and the different strategies you can implement it with. So that's all we have. Thank you guys. Do you have any questions for us?
I just have one. I noticed you had an icon for a food truck.
Yeah.
Those maybe move around. How easy is
They,
it?
yeah, they'd have to switch it. I was like, Taco Bros. Yeah.
The demo was great. I'm just wondering where you found the professional actors.
Yeah, we just pull them off the street. So a bunch of randos.
Random people.
Oh, Jordan.
No, it was great to see that in action and see it working. So I appreciated the video.
Yeah.
And not just the demonstration. It was nice to see because you were out in space and you're walking, and
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to work. So congratulations.
We're
on
just
that.
glad it wasn't raining either. We're like, we only have like an hour before it starts downpouring.
So, and then one more question.
Oh, of course. Yep.
So you learned a lot. You,
Mhm.
you talked about the technologies and so forth. A lot of struggles with the environment.
Yeah.
So what's the number one takeaway for your team on environments? Every one of the developers in our company has to deal with those types of things
Mhm.
all the time. So what would you think that is your number one takeaway on those struggles?
I think maybe like setting it up slowly is just because a lot of times we're like, hey, it's just let's just do this. You kind of like mindlessly like, oh, I'm downloading this, I'm connecting to this, but maybe like making sure. Because I know one time I forgot to push accept for permissions on something, and that caused a lot of issues. Just something little like that. And I think just communicating with other people too, and like there's a point at which like it's fine trying to figure out by yourself, but also to reach out for help. Because it did help, like we were saying when we were like texting our group chat and like on our like Code Saturdays too, and being like, hey, have you had this issue? If you have, like, look at this, or like, hey, I made me know a little bit about that, and that was really helpful.
To add on to that, one thing I was thinking would be that in the future it makes sense to have a document with errors that people got and how they managed to fix it in case other people run into the same issues. I know I figured out one problem, and then a few minutes later I found out Colin was having the same issue, and so then I was able to help him out. But if that document had been there, he could have checked there and found the solution a bit faster.
Sure, I agree.
As well as putting on that same kind of document all the proper steps for which each developer should take to, when they resync the project or when they rebuild it, or that type of nature too. This would be nice as well.
Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry.
Okay, just regarding geofencing, is geofencing more of a like GPS, latitude, longitude, position-based system, or is it more of, did you say stuff more for like proximity to a specific geographical location? Like, does it cover an area, or does it cover like one spot and then have kind of a pinging zone?
I would say it's more GPS wise. Yeah, because you set it per GPS coordinate to where you want, and then the radius around it, and then they mostly have, each native one has their own different implementations of their own that handle it for you, type thing. So I think it's more GPS, GPS, but I know they'll also work with the Wi-Fi and different network connectivity too. So
you did a nice job of talking about what's left and things that need to be done, remaining tasks kind of thing. It sounded like some of those you're still trying to get done before the semester, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Can you review what you're still trying to get done before you're all done?
We've been doing testing like most of this week. I was doing it late last night too. So we've been pushing really hard these last few days to try to make up for that last time of our late switch and everything, and that learning curve that we had to then overcome with that again. With that, I think we just have to add in a few lines of code to like make sure that it's refreshing the geofences. I think like after they move, so it's not just like just to like save on the battery power and stuff, like just make it more productive that way. We also have to merge some of our stuff too, because we were having some issues with our version control software. So we're just making sure that we all have the same stuff and we get that up there and find a documentation. So, yep. if that makes sense. Thank you. Yep.
So, if we wanted to use this, or we were wandering around and wanted to also get alerted about spicy pie, when is this something that we'd be able to access, as consumers who are interested in using the product? Is that kind of planned when this gets phased in?
That would be up to OmniByte when they want to push that to production.
Our town's available to anybody for free today, and then the functionality will depend on the state of which we receive it and how much effort it is to roll out. We do anticipate a release this summer, and it may or may not make that release, but as soon as possible.
Yeah. Cool time.
Other questions? All right,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.